So we're going to look at number 5. It says Kelly collects pins at Disneyland. The small pins cost $1 and the big pins cost $8. If she bought with an A 100 pins, so this is a total 100 pins. So that means this. She got some small ones, right? And she got some big ones. But together, it's a total of 100. Does that make sense? Simple idea, right? And she says, if she bought 100 pins, it costs $590. Okay? So however much money the small costs, plus however much money she spent on all of the big ones, all that money together is $590. So do you guys see the system here? Do you see your two equations? 1, 2. So we don't know how many small pins are $1 pins, right? So when you don't know something, does anyone remember how you say that? What do? Beautiful. You assign a variable. So you're going to say x equals the number of $1 pins. And on your final, you're going to do the same thing. Except it's not going to be $1 pins. It's going to be something else. Y is going to equal the other one, which is our what? $8 pins or big pins, right? Okay, so this is how many little pins and this is how many big pins. So think about it. You're going to add those two. It's going to be x plus y equals 100. That's the first equation. Does that make sense? Again, you're going to do this exact same. This is going to be your first equation on your final in a week. This next one right here, the money for small. Well, there's x, right? We don't know how many. And it's $1 every pin. So that's 1 times x, right? Plus, the big pins are $8, correct? It won't be 8, it'll be a different number, but it's going to be the same way. Set it up the same way. So it's 8 times y pins, or 8y. This is the money. All the money is $590 total. So you have two equations. One, this first one up here, is these guys plus these guys is a total of 100. 2 is money. This much money plus this much money equals total money, right? So there is your system. Now, when you solve this system, you're going to find out how many little pins and how many big pins. So one good way to get this wrong is by not reading the directions and finding out. Because if you solve your system and get this one, but they want this one, trust me, on the final they're going to try to trick you. They're going to give you this one as an answer choice also. Okay? So you got to know which one they're asking you about. So let's solve the system first of all. I can take this equation and I can isolate the x or the y. You guys remember how to subtract x from both sides? It's going to look like this, right? Y equals negative x. Sorry. Y equals negative x plus 100. And now this equation over here, this equation right here, I'm going to substitute this y into this equation. So it's x times y, right? 8 times y, 8y. Well, y is all this. So it's 8 times all this. Put that in parentheses. That's what times means, in parentheses. And we're just writing the rest of this equation right here. We're finding the solution to this system. We're finding the x and the y that make these both true to answer this question. How many little pins did she buy? If she bought 100 total, she spent $590. The little ones cost $1. Big ones cost $8. How many little ones did she buy? We can figure that out by writing and solving a system. So 1 times x is x. 8 times negative x is what? Negative 8x, right? Sorry about my writing. This tablet's hard to write with. 8 times 100 is not 100, right? It's what? 800. So we have equals 590. Okay, so like we learned in class, the way we solve equations is we simplify both sides first. I combine like terms, I use teams. There's more negatives than positives, that's why it's negative 7x and not positive 7x or something else. Alright, now that both sides are simplified, we're going to isolate the variable, and we're going to do that by working farthest away from the variable first. And you guys would go out to the side and subtract 800, take away 590, right? But if you think about it, 800 take away 200, 800 take away 600 would be what? A difference of 200, wouldn't it? But it's not quite 600, it's 10 less than that. So we add the 10 back on, it's a difference of 210. Again, don't have to do that in your head, just go out to the side, subtract, make sure you put the bigger looking number on top. There are more negatives than positives, so it's negative 210. Can you guys do 210 divided by 7 in your head? It's 30. If not, go out to the side, right? You go in and out, 210 goes in, 7 goes out, you're going to get 30 either way. Okay? You can do it over here like this. Okay, but this is where I need you guys to be careful. Because if you solved for y, you'll know how many big pins there are. If you solve for x, you'll know how many little pins there are. So read the directions again. The directions say, if she bought how many $1 pins. So we don't want to know these guys, we want to know these guys. These guys are 30. How much are the other ones? There's 100 total. 70, right? Because 30 and 70 is 100, isn't it? So watch. You can bet, you can be sure that 70 will be one of your answer choices on the final. Now, if they're asking you for the big pins, that's your answer. If they're asking you for the small pins, that's your answer. Please be careful and read the directions and know which one they're asking you for. I hope you guys get this one right on the final.